Hey everybody, welcome to Breakfast All Day. I'm Alonso, that's Christy, that's Matt, and opening just in theaters, right, this weekend, is The War with Grandpa, a movie that's been sitting around since at least 2017, 2018.
Oh, really? How do you
Yeah,
know that?
it was a Weinstein Company title
Oh.
that they had to sell off when everybody was jumping ship. So
And
yeah,
somebody bought it.
someone did buy it, and they are releasing it into theaters, and here we all are.
The War with Grandpa. So we had a spirited conversation just now about Hubie Halloween. And Alonzo seems to think that Hubie Halloween is worse than The War with Grandpa. I
He's
beg to
so wrong.
differ. So this is like sub Fockers level of wacky family comedy featuring Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro is Grandpa. And
But not dirty.
he is not, but in retrospect, Dirty Grandpa's looking better all the
Uh,
time. So Oaks Fegley, who was in the Goldfinch and the Pete's Dragon redo, is the middle child in a family who lives in a beautiful, spacious home in a leafy, pleasant suburb. Uma Thurman is his mom. Rob Riggle is his dad. He's got an older sister, younger sister, giant house, lots of room. But Grandpa, played by Robert De Niro, is getting on in years and perhaps is not as capable of functioning on his own as he once was. Lots of wacky old folks bits about how complicated the self checkout is at the grocery store, and he doesn't have a smartphone, and he backs out over the mailbox when he's pulling out of the driveway, and like serious things that lots of folks all over the world go through as they age, and they play them all for cheap wacky laughs and everything but a Viagra joke, because this is a PG movie, so thankfully there's no Viagra involved here. But Uma Thurman suggests, why don't you come and live with us? Right, he's widowed. This is big house, he's in by himself. Come live with us. And he doesn't really want to, he doesn't want to be in the way, but he moves in, and he moves into Oaks Fegley's room, forcing the kid up into the attic. And the kid doesn't want to move. And really quickly, like way too quickly, he wages war on Grandpa. Like what they should have done, ideally, is like let the tension build, let the humor build, let it become just totally untenable, and then you play the pranks on Grandpa, right? But it happens really fast. It's like the first day Grandpa's there, he's like, "Fuck it, we're going to war," and a little bit of urging from his buddies at school.
Well, but it's more than urging, right? Because neither of them want to go to war. And it's that the kid's friends talk him into it. And then De Niro's friends talk him into
It's
it.
a
And
total
they're like,
contrivance. It
yeah.
is, and so this would have been like a throwaway kind of forgettable comedy with a ridiculously overqualified cast under ordinary circumstances. Beyond the folks I've mentioned already, Christopher Walken and Cheech Marin are De Niro's best friends.
Jane
Jane
Seymour.
Seymour is this woman who works at the Fry's Electronics who becomes his buddy. And again, nobody needs a paycheck this badly, but maybe they want to do a nice family comedy. So they say yes to this under ordinary circumstances, like years ago when this was originally intended to come out. But now it is really tone deaf. And the idea that, oh, we have this giant house and lots of room for everyone to enjoy themselves, but I don't want to give up my room. It's a nice room. Like, boo freaking who? Robert De Niro is like a cool grandpa. He's not obnoxious. He's not dirty grandpa. He's a nice guy, and he takes him fishing and plays games, and he's helpful. And it's just that this kid's a fucking whiny brat and doesn't want to give his room up. And so I had a hard time from the very, very beginning. Again, because of the world in which we live now, which is no fault of the movies. By the way, the movie's based on a children's book, which came out like decades ago. Again, it's timing and it's the mood that you're in when you watch something.
I, I am very impressed with the direction here in that you managed to take all this entire cast who is capable of such great comedy and take almost all of the laughs out of this movie completely.
It takes work.
There are two laugh out loud moments in this.
Can you say
at all? One is Rob Riggle at the office talking to his boss.
I didn't laugh at that.
No, that wasn't one of mine either.
And number two is the long shot of the boat chase.
Yes.
And that's it.
I laughed. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I laughed at the exploding chili in the backpack because I just did not expect that.
I laughed about 5 or 6 times in this movie, which is 5 or 6 times more than I laughed at Hubie Halloween. Now, here's the thing. I disagree with very little of anything that anybody's been said. I'm not going out on a limb and saying that this movie is great or even good. I'm just saying it's better than fucking Hubie Halloween. And I can't hate this movie because there are some laughs in it. And it is, at the end of the day, like the sort of brightly lit suburban nonsense you would see on the Disney Channel, just with a ridiculously overqualified cast. I didn't get angry at this movie. I just sort of rolled my eyes in it and was occasionally entertained by it. It obviously should be tons better given the people who were involved with it, but I didn't loathe this movie. I didn't think it was despicable. I think a lot of kids' comedies can be despicable, and this one wasn't. It was just innocuous and forgettable. like literally by the closing credits, when they show you the bloopers, like they were showing scenes that I'd forgotten that I'd already seen in the movie, you know? So yeah, look, so I do not want the narrative of this thing to become later, oh, you liked The War with Grandpa. No. I didn't hate The War with Grandpa, which is the difference. I did hate Hubie Halloween, though, with every fiber of my being.
See, I guess I went into this I had low expectations for this. Don't get me wrong. But I had really low expectations for Hubie. And Hubie exceeded. This far fell short of my expectations because I would like to think that this cast, because we know that they're capable of such great comedy and comic timing, and like they're given no chance to sell these terrible jokes. And I think a lot of it is the direction. The direction is stuff that, like, you know, when, you know, Cheech Marin is hitting on the woman in the church, like that should be funny, right? And they managed to take all of that out. And it's one of those things, like, I was shocked. I was shocked at how they made it so tedious.
I laughed at the cell phone at the funeral. But the thing,
that was my second laugh.
But the problem with there's that one, and there's the oral report. Like those are both pranks that would only work if a specific set of circumstances, like, all lined up entirely. Like the oral report prank where the grandfather rewrites his report to talk about how he freezes his own farts or whatever. Like the kid just has to stop reading. He doesn't have to read it out loud, or he could make something else up in the moment. The fact that he's reading what the grandfather wrote him, it's like, well, that's a dumb prank because it relies on this kid having to do this to behave in a way that makes no sense whatsoever. There are a ton of problems in this movie. I'm not denying any of them. I'm just saying I laughed a few times, and I really was just sitting there getting angrier and angrier at the Sandler movie.
Now, this movie is like the director was at war with his grandfather, Robert De Niro, and his prank was to make De Niro appear in a movie that is allegedly a comedy and is not, and is going to make him look bad.
I will say this is from the director of the probably a better movie than this, Grumpy Cat's Worst Christmas Ever for Lifetime.
He also directed Hop, Tim Hill.
Yes.
Tim Hill, nephew of George Roy Hill. Also directed Alvin and the Chipmunks and Garfield, A Tale of Two Kitties.
Yes.
But the pranks go from really hackneyed stuff involving drones to like legitimately dangerous stuff, like when the kid presses the button on the grandpa's life alert thing and the paramedics come and the firefighters come.
Also
like,
makes
that's
no
not
sense.
funny. That's not funny because like other people, it's, you know, it's a crime. I sound very uptight, I realize, but like that's, and there are no consequences for that. Like nothing bad happens to the kid for making a false 911 call.
But like, that would have been funny if they did actually like hit him with the defibrillator, right? Like that could have been a funny, like go for, I mean, like this would have been, you almost want to see like, okay, let the Jackass crew have this idea.
The bad grandpa crew.
Yeah.
All the ideas feel very half-baked. Like, oh, he takes out the screws in the kid's desk and chair. And
I'd have been happy if they got to half-baked on this.
Yeah.
This is like quarter baked.
It feels very slapped together. And then there's nothing to any of these characters. Like poor Uma Thurman, like her her primary character traits are she's late for things and she likes to needlepoint. And like there's a whole bit with Rob Riggle and he keeps flashing his junk by accident. Like it wasn't funny the first time and they keep doing it. Like De Niro keeps seeing his junk.
Or like what did they cut out of this movie? Like the whole thing with Riggle, like, hey, you gotta really put yourself out there, right? Like with his own designs and stuff. And then they just abandon it.
Yeah, that never pays off at all. Like you think at the end of the movie, he's going to go into business for himself or something and nothing. No, this is not a good movie, but it's just not a terrible movie.
It's a terrible movie.
It's terrible.
It is. I'm saying 2.
Yeah, I'm dropping my score. I'm saying 3.
Okay.
I'm sticking with my 6. It's a 6.
Okay, so 2
that's
plus 3 plus
that's
6.
a 3.7.
All right, thank you. All right, this is not a good movie.
1
and
plus 1
again,
plus 2 plus 1.
I don't know math, but
it's only in theaters. Don't go see it.
Don't.
Yeah, this is the movie you want to risk your life for.
Don't get COVID for the war with Grandpa.
No. All right, thanks for watching. Like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us at BeFastAllDay on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/BeFastAllDay. Lots of fun, exclusive content for our listeners, including right now recaps of Lovecraft Country and The Vow on HBO. Thanks for watching, you guys. We'll see you next time.